Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And let's just dive in and let's start off with this video here, talking a little bit about the innovation and consumer protection that can be balanced with a risk-sensitive regulatory framework. Now, Ripple is not shy from creating these frameworks, or at least giving their guidance on a lot of these regulatory frameworks. For the longest time, Ripple has been creating white papers and PDF files around these specific regulatory issues, and also even creating their own frameworks around regulatory movements. So as we really kind of look at this, yes, I do think that Ripple is playing a key role in the evolution of regulations, especially even within the US, which I will address here in a second. But first, let's go in on this video here from Ripple.
I usually have 30 minutes to answer these questions. Hi, my name is Rahul Advani, and this is Crypto in 1 minute. We believe that innovation and consumer protection can be balanced with a risk-sensitive regulatory framework. What that means is that activities should be regulated based on the principle of same risk, same activity, same treatment. This will allow for a regulatory framework that accounts for different activities in the segment and regulates them appropriately. We believe that there are three principles that you can use to achieve this risk-sensitive framework. The first is the framework should be technology agnostic, which means it should not promote specific technologies. The second is that the technology should be a principles-based approach, which will guide market participants to their regulatory outcomes. And the third is that the framework should be risk-sensitive and regulate based on specific risks. Wow.
So yes, I do think that as we look at regulations around crypto, Ripple is a key player here. I think that Ripple technically has been in the spotlight for 2.5 years now, fighting the SEC, spending well over $200+ million on that case, which a lot of people believe that is coming to an end very soon. Again, we have no idea until it actually does happen. But I will say this, as we really kind of look at things happening around crypto acceptance, adoption outside of the US, I think that historically, right now, this case is probably one of the biggest ones around crypto and crypto acceptance and adoption, and even creating, a regulatory guideline for a lot of other companies to follow through, and even to create a guideline for digital assets within crypto as well. I think that this is going to be the snowball effect, if you will, this case, which is very interesting. But also a lot of the leaders around Ripple, like for an example, the one in this video, are very adamant around, crypto regulations and creating a regulatory framework that can benefit not only the industry itself, but also the consumers a part of it, like you and me. But also, I will say, Craig DeWitt, which we recently made a video on this tweet here from Cowboy Crypto. Actually, he's talking a little bit about Craig DeWitt and how he was the only vice chair of the US Faster Payments Council, which has a lot of ties actually to the Federal Reserve itself, which Amazon's head of product for Amazon Payments found it as well. No big deal. And here we have Cowboy Crypto actually talking a little bit about the Faster Payments Council. For those who don't know already, the Federal Reserve joined the US Faster Payments Council as a founding sponsor. The founder of the US Faster Payments Council is the head of product at Amazon Payments and is a member of FedNow Community Group. The only crypto company representing the US Faster Payments Council is Ripple. Craig DeWitt was their vice chair before leaving. Now 2 Ripple executives hold leadership roles within the working group, which I did talk a little bit about with Pat Thelen and even James Selleck. The clearinghouse is also a member of the US Faster Payments Council. Probably nothing, right? And also here you guys have notable companies / organizations in the US Faster Payments Council, Ripple, and look at all of the other major leaders here. We're talking about Walmart, Wells Fargo, Visa, JP Morgan, Netflix, American Express, and so many other ones here as well. And also Ken is also a member of the Business Payments Coalition at the Federal Reserve. This is another individual that was tied back to the Faster Payments Council, as well as some other roles here as well. But a lot of these major leaders around this space, and even outside of this space, specifically from Ripple as well, have been a part of the US Faster Payments Council, which we linked back to the Federal Reserve so many times, and there's a lot of collaboration here happening from the Federal Reserve and even the U.S. Faster Payments Council, which I do think is something to definitely watch for as we do follow the breadcrumbs around the Federal Reserve and what they are doing with blockchain technology and crypto technology around even the U.S.-based CBDC and even the FedNow service. But also, here we have from Craig DeWitt. He's talking a little bit about the XRP SEC case. Listen closely to this.
But we'll talk, hot and honey hot takes you got.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be crypto. It can be anything in life. But give me a couple good sound bites.
Go, crypto is life, man. You got the, those are the same thing for me. Here's my hot take.
Hit me.
SEC gets their ass kicked in the Ripple case. Absolutely get their ass kicked in the Ripple case. But the ruling comes out in such a way that XRP is alone cleared as a non-security in the United States. Meaning that with all the other stuff that the SEC is pulling, suing exchanges, suing other coins, are going to sue some big ones as well, that only BTC and XRP have legal clarity in the United States for a 2-year period.
Just taking some show notes on that one. Ooh,
that would be like the turnaround of a century, right? Go from getting beat up by the government to being the only one with clarity because I spent $250 or $200 million fighting this case.
Is that how much Ripple spent?
Yeah, it's a public number, but yeah, like $200 million.
And you know what? Craig is 100% right here. As we look at XRP and the XRP community, we have gotten beaten down for 2.5 years. Case came in at a perfect time to ruin our run in 2021. A lot of people have talked about this. In fact, there's a lot of individuals around the space that believe that a $10 XRP would have happened if it wasn't for the SEC. I also believe that. And you know what's wild about this is that, yes, he is right. XRP, and if you will, throw in Bitcoin, sprinkle a little bit of Bitcoin in there. But XRP, the main one in Spotlight, will be the only digital asset in the space that has regulatory clarity. And all of the other ones will have to fight and wait for 2 years. Think about how crazy that is. Now think about what will happen with XRP during that entire time. I mean, this is one of the most bullish statements. Now, obviously, yes, is this 100% guaranteed to happen? No. But I also believe that this is the case, right? Because, it is the truth. Ripple has been fighting for 2.5 years. They spent well over $200 million on this case. Do you think that that's all for nothing? Once the shackles are here broken around XRP, everything will be put in motion. We're talking about US acceptance and adoption, on-demand liquidity, American corridors outside of the US. There's been banks and companies waiting on the sidelines to utilize these solutions as well, waiting for regulatory clarity. I mean, this thing right here that we have, this XRP, it is bottled up and the pressure is building day in and day out as this case continues to rage on. It is only a matter of time. And going back to this connection with the Federal Reserve from Cowboy Crypto, shout out to Cowboy Crypto. Linda P. Jones actually quoted a video going all the way back to October of 2019 from Bank XRP. What you see in 2019, Ripple was congratulated for having 400 new customers. In my opinion, many have not yet been announced publicly. Brad Garlinghouse was clear then, as he is now, that XRP is not a security. Ripple has a lot of good news yet to be disclosed. And here we have Bank XRP. Linda, former Federal Reserve, congratulate Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse on 400 new customers. Listen closely to this video, and then we will talk a little bit more about why I brought this video back up.
Thank you. So congratulations on your 400 new customers, and I want to find out what is the current volumes of payments going through Ripple right now amongst your bank customers. And also, my background's in bank regulation, so I'm trying to understand how Ripple works with banking activities. If, depending on how the SEC comes out, whether XRP is determined to be security, or if not, then it would have to be most likely an intangible asset. Then it would have to be deducted from the Basel capital requirements. How does this all work with your banking customers when they use your services?
I missed that very, very last part of the question. How does this all work with what?
For your banking customers when they use your services.
So like, there are a few different questions embedded in there. I'll start with, I think, the kind of the big elephant in the room, given how Chairman Clayton's question ended earlier. Look, I, Brad Garlinghouse, believe it's very clear that XRP is not a security. I think there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. One of them, quite frankly, is in the hypothetical world, Ripple could shut down. Literally, I can fly back to California, send everybody home tomorrow, and there's 140 exchanges around the world that trade XRP, and XRP is going to keep trading. Now, do I think it's great that if one major player in the XRP ecosystem isn't playing? Yeah, that's not great. However, I think, and I was actually trying to pull some data on this morning, and I didn't get this. I think Coil is doing more XRP transactions per day right now than Ripple is. And the reason is that the Coil transactions are micro transactions. They're very, 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 very small payments. And so the volume is, much higher. So look, I think the SEC is trying to think through, not just for XRP, but a whole bunch of different digital assets. How should we think about these things? I don't pretend it's a simple issue. I think the good news is I think that's a constructive conversation. And I'm not losing a lot of sleep that our customers aren't going to be able to continue to use XRP for liquidity based upon.
So yeah, I mean, back then, Brad Garlinghouse was pretty adamant about how XRP is not a security. And even today, we already know, outside of what the SEC has been doing, every single case that the SEC brings up, in my opinion, harms their stance within this market. I don't think that their reputation holds as much weight today than it did back in 2020 or even 2019. But today, more than ever, there's been a lot of connections back to the Federal Reserve. I just thought that this one was pretty interesting, considering the fact that back then, they had 400 new customers. That was in 2019 when regulatory clarity and even, the question around XRP being a security or a currency was up in the air. Once that statement is out, that XRP is now a currency, it has regulatory clarity. I just wonder how many new customers Ripple will sign up that day or even that month. Because from here on out, the question stands on when, right? It's not if, it's when. When is this case done? And everyone wants to know that answer. Nobody can give you guys that answer besides the judge, right? We just need to wait and be patient. But when that wait is over, when that patience has truly amassed a standard of, wow, it was worth the wait. It was worth being patient. Everyone, and I mean everyone, will know who Ripple is and what XRP is. Because outside of what Ripple is doing with XRP, just like Brad Garlinghouse said, XRP would thrive tomorrow without Ripple. But the thing is that everyone will know about this case. This case is a historical landmark, in my opinion, around crypto. It will be a case that is talked about for many years, even after it is finished. But also, talking a little bit more about the Federal Reserve connections, going back 8 years ago. That's right, 8 years ago. The Federal Reserve Bank VP acknowledged Ripple. It talked a little bit about how the Federal Reserve System, could utilize distributed ledger systems to keep all the books simultaneously in their member banks. So in the case of a system breakdown, the records could be recovered from the ledger. It actually is the direct quote here. You could actually see which bank is sending money to which bank on this FedCoin blockchain. That was the idea back then, the FedCoin blockchain. So the Fed wants to, or was to, make an emergency loan to one of these other entities, you'll be able to observe who is the recipient of the loan and how much. So if we actually look at this, like, they knew about XRP, they knew about Ripple back then, they knew about the entire business model. It's kind of comical though, that 8 years later, we have this case going on and there's been so many questions about if Ripple's going to continue to survive and, where does XRP stand in all of this? Like, to me, anyone that doesn't know what they hold or even understands what they hold or, hasn't been around for years now, I think that those are the ones that are a little bit less confident around what Ripple is doing and what XRP will become. To me, I know what I hold. I know where we are headed. And also, here you guys have 2 weeks ago, Atlanta Fed explains Web3 finance, including XRP International Payment Medium. It's literally outlined XRP's bridge currency use case. Here you guys have from Wrath of Kahneman, actually. The Atlanta Fed released a report, Web3 and Finance, that mentions Ripple. They describe XRP as the international payment medium or wholesale settlement coin. wholesale settlement is interesting context, because wholesale means central banks. This is central bank digital currency, right? This is their currency. It's completely different than an RCBDC, which would be a retail CBDC. This is for wholesale CBDCs. But you see, Ripple provides various services via the use of its native token, which I think that's weird how it's worded there. It's native token, but it's basically just the token that they choose. The XRP, which is roughly envisioned as an international payment medium or wholesale settlement coin. Very interesting wording there. But it is true, like XRP could be utilized by anyone. It's decentralized by nature. It's not controlled by anyone. XRP is perfectly positioned to be that medium of exchange. And ultimately speaking, when you look at what Stellar's doing with XLM, it's kind of the same thing, but it's completely different areas of interest. B2B versus P2P. And XRP to me has been positioned for so long as the B2B token, the token between banks, the token between central banks. So this is very interesting to see it, especially mentioned in a white paper by the Atlanta Fed. Kind of just overviewing this connection with XRP and kind of solidifying the use case for XRP, which we've been talking about for so long. But the future definitely is bright. I question on what's going to happen after this case. Everyone has their eyes centered out on the 13th. Let's see what happens on the 13th. I will be reporting on anything that does happen. Will it be a huge day or will it be a huge letdown? We have no idea just yet, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join me for Discord in the description below. It's just up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. If you guys are on this beautiful world, that's been Nick. Peace out, guys.